Hello and welcome to Biochem Bits. This is biochemistry class brought to you in bits. Biochemistry course has comes with mixed feeling for different people. There are people who find it very interesting and also find assimilating or getting to know it in bits somewhat difficult. So in Biochem Bits, we'll be bringing biochemistry courses of biochemistry knowledge to you in bits, trying to bring the knowledge to us in a more relatable way. And this is what we are doing in Biochem Bits. So, in this class, we will be looking at the overview of biochemistry and its significance. This lecture will explore the definition, the scope, and the importance of this fascinating field. If you're new to biochemistry or you're planning to come into biochemistry as a course or any of its relating scope as we'll be looking at today, please be rest assured that this is a very interesting course, and if you're learning anything about biochemistry, you are contributing to the health of humanity. And so you're very important and you stand as one of the very important dots in the field of health or medical sciences. Now, at the end of this course, I expect that we will be able to define biochemistry in a very simple way, understand some of the scope in biochemistry, and also recognize why biochemistry is important to our everyday life. Also having a grasp of the central dogma of molecular biology, which is very critical to the learnings in biochemistry. And also we will have an appreciation of the role of biochemistry in health and in disease. To begin, let us talk about the definition of biochemistry. Biochemistry stands as the branch of science that explores the chemical processes within every living organism. It also looks at the chemical processes that are related to living organisms or chemical events that occurs around living organisms or has anything to do with living organisms. This helps us as a biochemist to understand what effect some of these biochemical or chemical events could have on living organisms, even though it's not occurring within the living organism. Biochemistry combines basically the principles of biology and chemistry. So if you've had some elements of biology in your elementary school or in your high school or in secondary school, you also have some knowledge of chemistry even in your secondary school or high school. What biochemistry does is to combine these two principles, focusing on the structure, the function, and the interaction of some of the biomolecules that are essential for life. When we talk about life, we're talking about cell, the unit of life. And some of these biomolecules are very critical to the existence of life. First, I want you to know that as we progress, we'll be using words like biomolecules, and when you come to know about biomolecules, when you hear about biomolecules, just know that this is a very common word. It's talking about molecules that makes up life, and is also very important in biochemistry. We're looking at the scope of biochemistry. Scope of biochemistry is very broad, and the key areas of biochemistry include molecular biology, which looks at the encryption of genetic information that makes up life and how some of those things are coded and replicated and also expressed from one generation to another. We also have structural biology, which looks at the molecular structure of every biomolecule or every molecules that are in a living cell. We have metabolism also, which is also very interesting, looking at the chemical reactions or the stepwise reaction that occurs within living organism that maintains life. Cell signaling is also very critical because it has to do with the cell-to-cell communication. No cell occurs in isolation. There is an interaction between each cell, and this signaling, which is very critical to the existence or maintenance of life and how some of these processes are regulated, is what biochemists study. Bioenergetics, looking at energy, how cells make energy, and how they maximize this energy. Biotechnology, looking at the technological aspect of biology, how to improvise or use some aspects of technology to further augment life processes. So, as biochemists, we investigate the molecular mechanism that are fundamental to life processes. And so, right from genetic information storage to the expression of this information to energy transformation, as well as metabolic pathways, these are fundamental processes that you will be coming across as you study biochemistry. And there are some of us in biochemistry or in this field of medical science that specialize in an aspect of this scope. We have molecular biologists, we have molecular scientists, we have structural biologists, we have people who specialize in metabolism. As time goes on, these are areas where we tend to specialize in, depending on where your interest really lies. So now, I'll move on to why biochemistry is really important. Now, understanding the biochemical underpinnings in living organism is very, very important, and I must say that when we advance our knowledge in biology and medicine, it helps us to unravel some of the mechanisms in disease state. Understanding what processes occur in a particular disease state helps to target therapy, to inform what sort of drug that can be developed, and also make some progress in biotechnological applications. For example, there has been advancement in agriculture, there has been advancement in drug designs, and also environmental when it comes to bioremediation and the likes, as it also relates to human health. These are things that biochemistry as a course has been able to bring forth. Biochemistry, I tell you for free today, is very important to our everyday life, and having that knowledge makes you a special person. So don't be discouraged. Whatever comes your way, maybe you feel biochemistry as a course is somewhat hard, just know that you're a very important person, and it is because you are who you are, and that is why you're standing as one of the key actors in this event. Now we look at the building blocks of life. I mentioned earlier that molecules is a word that will be coming on and off as a biochemist that you get to know and you get familiar with. There are 4 major classes of biomolecules that we will know about during the course of this class, although there might be others that you will get to know about as you advance. These 4 building blocks are carbohydrates, lipids, protein, and nucleic acid. Now, when we talk about carbohydrate, we know this has to do with the energy units, how we're able to get some of the energy storage and the structural components of the cell going. Protein is very important also in the structural components of life, as well as in some of the actors that mediates or catalyzes, just as we're familiar with in the elementary school or in the elementary knowledge, that catalyzes the events or processes that maintains or sustains life. We also have signaling molecules, which we will get to know about later. This is more like an advanced molecule that are very critical to the communication between cells or communication between pathways, of also facilitating pathways that are essential to the sustenance and the maintenance of life. We have the nucleic acid, which is a unit that makes up the genetic information that is stored in our cells and that is also transferred up to another generation. The central dogma of molecular biology is very important in biochemistry because biochemistry tends to look more deep into the central dogma of molecular biology, and that is why it goes hand in hand, looking at the flow of genetic information right from DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, to ribonucleic acid, and also to the expressed unit, which is protein, where we have the functional unit coming from. The process of replication, transcription, and translation are very important to life, and they form a focus of biochemical research. What biochemistry does is to explore the mechanism behind these processes. Now, another very important aspect of life is metabolism. Metabolism is looking at the network of chemical reactions that sustains living organism. These are different pathways, talking about the catabolic pathways that breaks down molecules for energy or for to generate the units that could be reused by the body. And we also have the anabolic processes that those are also series of pathways that synthesize complex biomolecules for the building up of some structural components of the living organism. So regulating metabolism is also a very critical step in maintaining homeostasis, which is critical for every living organism. These are some of the things that we'll be playing around with or getting to know more about in biochemistry. This is just an overview or general overview of what biochemistry really is. Now, biochemistry has widespread application, and as I mentioned earlier, because you are in biochemistry or you're studying any course that has to do with biochemistry, you're very important, because one way or the other you are contributing to human health. And human health has been explored in biochemistry because biochemistry seeks to understand the disease mechanisms, as I mentioned earlier, developing some diagnostic tools and also personalized therapies, such that we every challenge or every disease that comes forth, we study the mechanism and we are able to provide solution through a targeted therapeutic intervention or a targeted treatment or targeted management, understanding the biomarkers that can be used to even track the progression of this disease, how what you eat or what you drink or what you expose yourself to could result in a state of health or a disease, and also some of the habits that could affect, that could boost or degenerate our health. These are basic things that biochemistry tend to understand. Looking at our environment, biochemistry also plays very critical role in environmental science. As I mentioned earlier, looking at the natural biochemical cycles, the engineer sustainable solutions, and also some sort of bioremediation, how well we can sustain our environment and make it more eco-friendly so that we don't have our environment contributing to the deterioration of our health over time. Studying some of these biochemical cycles, just like the one you have in your high school, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, the water cycle, and the likes. Those are some of the things or elements of biochemistry tends to advance on. Now, in terms of career prospects, I can tell you categorically, in my journey as a biochemist for some years now, biochemistry offers diverse opportunities, and you can pursue roles in research depending on what your interest is. You can go ahead to be a medical doctor, since you already have the fundamental knowledge that is required, and your treatment, I can assure you, is going to be top notch because you understand the basics of everything you're administering. Biotechnology is also a field to explore in biochemistry. Science communication, we have a lot of us that are in biochemistry that love the communication part of it. Education, just as I'm doing now, we have people that are teachers, we have people that are lecturers, we have people that are writing articles, that are researching. And one other very important aspect of biochemistry is the forensics, helping us to unravel the puzzles that comes with crime and providing relevant solution to every situation that presents itself. This makes you very important as a biochemist. So the demand of biochemistry is expected to grow faster and even higher than what it is averagely now, and this is because the scientific research and development is advancing in various industries, and so we're prepared. We're looking out to have more biochemists with sound knowledge, because if you're a biochemist, you're not just someone with an intellect that can be pushed back. You must have had some element of sound intellect for you to be in biochemistry. And it doesn't just mean that the fact that you are not the high intellectual person, it means you can't cope in biochemistry. what you need to know in biochemistry is just to understand the basics, and I can assure you practical application of biochemistry is usually very much top notch. So beyond this practical application, biochemistry is also deeply fascinating, interesting. It, like I mentioned earlier, explores the fundamental mechanisms of life, and constantly evolving nature of this discipline helps to provide some sort of groundbreaking discoveries. For example, the career opportunities are there because it is interdisciplinary. You can connect with any aspect of medical sciences anywhere you are, depending on where your area of interest really is. And then you have the advancements in biotechnology and medicine, and your personal fulfillment, the fact that you can tell what you have, you're experiencing, you can explain it, you can explain it when it comes to biochemically, I mean, your pathways of what is happening, then it gives you the sense of joy, and it helps you to also contribute to the scientific evolving world. So thank you so much for joining the class today. I hope this overview has given you a solid introduction to the world of biochemistry and its significance. And sure, let me know if you have any questions. In our next sessions or upcoming sessions, we'll be diving into various topics. If you have any question, please put it in the chat. I'm sure other people will be able to answer you, and some of our experiences you can also put it there, talking about being a biochemist. How is it to you? I find it fulfilling, I find it happy. It was not very easy, so if you're not finding it very easy now, don't feel alone. It wasn't very easy, but with good understanding of it, I can stand tall, and I can say that biochemistry is a very interesting field that anyone in medical science should delve into. Thank you. Please remember to subscribe, like the video, and share with people that you feel might need it. As we have upcoming session, the moment we publish, you'll be able to get an alert and you enjoy some of those things. We will be gisting biochemistry, and that is what this is all about. It's not a serious period of learning, it's a gisting period of learning. All right.